In this installment, we're going to be going over the must-buys for 2023 in your best ball and fantasy football drafts. Let's get into it. Hey, yo! Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our must-buys video for this season of 2023 for best ball and redraft. Guys, before I deep dive into this very, very intriguing video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetShedC. Don't forget about the TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about the Patreon. If you want more of this best ball and redraft content, if you want the rankings, if you want best bets for the MLB season, if you want to get ready for your NFL season and bets as well, go to that link down below for the Patreon. Now, the first must buy of this season will be Rhamondre Stevenson of the New England Patriots. Yes, I said a New England Patriots running back. Usually you think of Bill Belichick, you think of a committee backfield with the Patriots, but no, this is not the old New England Patriots. There's no Tom Brady, there's no Randy Moss, there's no elite offensive weapons all around that he can lean on. Literally, they have to look at and lean on Rhamondre Stevenson. If you're just looking at the running back room here for the New England Patriots, where are the touches going? They have to go to Rhamondre Stevenson. At least Damian Harris was here last season, and that's why they were splitting carries until obviously Harris got injured, and Rhamondre Stevenson took it to the next level and showed that he can be a bell cow. All right. No Pierre Strong, Ty Montgomery, all these satellite backs. These are guys that might come in on a third down just to give Rhamondre Stevenson a breather. Everyone else has late round capital or just fill-in guys on special teams that are nowhere comparable to Rhamondre Stevenson. And let's look at the better note here is the wide receiving core, where the targets are going. Juju Smith-Schuster, who has a knee injury still, he is not 100% now. There's going to be a big question mark coming into training camp. Devontae Parker is not nowhere near number 2. And everyone else is just a bunch of fill-in guys. Hopefully, Tyquan Thornton can become something as a deep threat on this team. So you're looking back at Rhamondre Stevenson here. Look at his numbers last season in 2022 as he, took over that running back role, 210 attempts, over 1,000 yards, and a 5.0 yards per carry, not to mention the receiving work. 69 receptions, 421 yards, and 6 touchdowns. There is still upside for Rhamondre Stevenson this season, especially in that touchdown department. And the fact, if you look at his current ADP at 27.8, you're getting Rhamondre Stevenson somewhere early in that third round. You can get your number 1 wide receiver, 2 number 1 wide receivers in the first 2 rounds, and then get you a solidified top 10 running back in round number 3. He is a steal at his current ADP right now. Our next must-buy will be Joe Mixon of the Cincinnati Bengals. And the only reason why his ADP was in that 47 to around 50 to even almost 60 range was because of the contract talks, okay? And now things have been clarified for Joe Mixon. As you can see, even Ian Rappaport reports Bengals Joe Mixon took a $4.67 million pay cut to come back this season. All right, so they got their guy. There's no more question marks, no more holding out for Joe Mixon. He will be back this year for the Cincinnati Bengals, and you're getting a guy that's going to be a top 10 running back. As you can see, last year he finished as RB10 last season. If we're just looking at the numbers, he's just been a top 20 pretty much running back since 2018. He's just been very, very consistent. We had 3 years of over 1,000 yards rushing. We saw a little bit of a downturn from him in the rush department in 2022, but he brought it up to a whole nother notch, being a very reliable third down option for the Bengals. All right, that's why he had 60 receptions and 441 yards. Obviously, a career high for him, and he added in 9 total touchdowns. So this season, they're getting the same guy back, only at a very cheaper price. So go out right now and grab Joe Mixon. If you're looking at the competition in the running back room, there is none. We have Travion Williams, who's a satellite, Chris Evans, who's just a special teamer, and Chase Brown, who they just drafted in the late 5th round as a rookie. He won't be taking a touch away from Joe Mixon as they are going towards the playoffs. They trust and rely upon Joe Mixon in very, very key situations, especially in pass blocking. So Joe Mixon is an absolute steal at his current ADP, and they still have not corrected this wrong in his price. Our third must-buy player for drafts this year will be Dameon Pierce. Yes, RB27 last year in Dameon Pierce. That was only because he got injured at the back end of the season. But if you look at his numbers before he got hurt, he was absolutely outstanding, all right? And best comparable to Chris Carson, absolutely perfect comparison of how rough and rugged of a runner he is. It is a benefit that Devin Singletary is now going to be the second guy behind him, just to take a few carries away from Dameon Pierce. It's only going to better him so he can last throughout the entire season, because he's a very, very productive running back. And with his numbers that we saw last season, over 200 attempts, 939 yards in only 14 games, and he was very good with a 4.3 yards per carry, okay? Had 30 receptions with only 165 yards and 5 TDs. Now you get a QB upgrade with CJ Stroud. Anything is better than Davis Mills in this offense, all right? So we're going to have a little bit more opportunity for Dameon Pierce to be in some red zone advantages here, so he can get in the end zone a little bit more. And if we're just looking at his game log, game after game, from week 3 on, he had 18.1, 25.9, 20.3, 15, 14, 13, 12, 12, and 11 before he got injured in week 14. This guy had 9 top 25 finishes in 14 games. Mind you, the first 2 to 3 weeks he was splitting carries, okay? Well, wait, hold on. These numbers are looking very, very similar to someone else that's going in round number 3. If we're looking at someone else, Najee Harris. Look at Najee Harris's numbers. A middling joke of a running back. 10, 13, 13, 12, 11, 12, 9, 27. He only had 2 games of over 20 fantasy points. But why are we paying for Najee Harris in the 3rd round when we can get Dameon Pierce in the 6th or even 7th round? What are we paying for? If we're looking back at Najee Harris, he played an entire season, had only 10 top 25 finishes in the running back department. Only 10, compared to Dameon Pierce, who had 9 top 25 finishes in only 14 weeks. In 4 less games, he had just the same amount of top 25 finishes. So right now, there is no reason to be taking Najee Harris. All right? No reason to be taking Najee Harris in round 3 when you can just wait and get Dameon Pierce in round 6 or even 7. Don't you dare draft Najee Harris this season. Take a breather. Go grab you an elite quarterback. Go grab you an elite wide receiver. Wait at that running back position and get you Dameon Pierce. Let's move over to some wide receiver must-buys for this season. The first guy we're going to talk about will be Chris Godwin, Mr. Consistency here of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, Tom Brady is gone, and now the new QB for this team will be Baker Mayfield. Well, a lot of people just throwing dirt on his name. Yes, he had a great 2 first seasons, had a little bit of a downturn, but he finished strong last season in that LA Rams offense under Sean McVay. Hopefully he can bring some upside here to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers so they could be at least competent. All right, this team most likely going to be down the majority of their games, and they're going to have to throw the football. And Chris Godwin, like I said, Mr. Consistency. We have 4 straight years in a row of Chris Godwin finishing as a top 15 wide receiver with fantasy points per game, as you can see right here. 14.9, 17.3, 15.9, and 19.6. Don't you want that in your lineups? Has 3 out of the 4 years of over 1,000 yards, as one year with over 100 receptions with 104 last season. He's going to continue to do the same thing. And the reason why he's going to benefit here, the reason why he's going to win in these situations is look at his total route wins versus zone and man. Top 5 in the league in his route win rate. All right. 45% as number 20 in the league out of all wide receivers. He's top 20 in that department. And then his win rate versus man is 42%, and his win rate against zone coverage is pretty much 49%. That's top 15 in the league as well. So Chris Godwin continues to pump out consistent numbers, elite numbers of him getting open. In his current ADP right now at 57.9, and it continues to drop. You're getting Chris Godwin in round 5 and 6 when he belongs in that round 3 and 4 range. The only thing that has dampened down is the QB situation, but you got to think about the fact that Baker Mayfield is good enough to get him the ball when the guy that's running these routes is always open. So definitely take advantage of this big discount on Chris Godwin this year. Last but not least, we have the other thumbnail guy here in Diontae Johnson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't understand why his ADP was so low at the beginning of summer, or pretty much end of spring, but it was absolutely ridiculous that he was right next to George Pickens. He finished as wide receiver 28 last year. That is understandable because of the touchdowns, all right? You're looking at his numbers from 2022. He had well over 140 targets, had 86 receptions, 882 yards. It's a pretty solid season, but the real damper in his year was 0 touchdowns. He was super unlucky. He had 3 or 4 or 5 times he was stopped at that 1 yard line last season. So that could have been a big difference here. But you saw upside in 2021 where he finished as the top 10 wide receiver, where he had over 100 receptions, over 1,000 yards, and 8 TDs. But year after year, you see Diontae Johnson putting up consistent numbers, all right? And he's going to provide that yet again this season. And the reason why you want that, because look at his targets, look at the opportunity. He's top 10 in the league in target at 147. He has a target share that's top 13 at 27%, and then 31% in the red zone. And then his regular target rate is at 26.3. So, guys, go to the well. Expect a bounce back and progression for Diontae Johnson, especially in that TD department, because that's pretty much all you need. He's going to get the targets. He's going to get the target share. He just needs to get in the end zone, and you should expect him to bounce back in the same exact offense. Nothing's going to change. It's the Matt Canada yet again. They still have Pickens just going deep. Diontae Johnson's going to be that bankable guy for Kenny Pickett between him and Pat Freiermuth this year. So thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Guys, if you're currently a viewer and not a subscriber, go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. And if you want to know the must-avoid plays for this season in best ball and redraft, go ahead and click that link down below.